Welcome back to the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable. I'm Alice Stockton Rossini. Let's talk about living the life with Kara Rountree, author of Grandma's Phone, Lost in Africa. Kara, where are you right now?
Well, I am currently in Fort Wayne, Indiana, but I'm a full-time traveler, so that'll change tomorrow when I leave for Miami.
And how do you do that?
It started several years ago where we decided, well, we didn't want to be tied down to jobs anymore. So we looked for ways to remove the have to be there jobs to travel jobs. So we opened a travel agency and we're our number one client. And so we quit those jobs. We started traveling. We sold everything that we own, no house, no nothing, all of our stuff. And 2 carry-ons and 2 backpacks later, we are on the road.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Do you have children?
A 30-year-old. He's on his own and married and living his life. So right now, before the grandbabies, we can kind of experience the world.
Yeah, that's excellent. Are you going to write about that?
Yeah, I'm toying with that right now. I've kind of got a draft and an outline kind of started for that. So hopefully that will come to fruition at some point.
Do you write as you travel?
Yes. I've always had different stories floating around in my head that I've wanted to get out, but none of them really knock so hard that they have to escape. This one, this the kid's book had to escape. It was like not letting go of my dreams, not letting go of my world. And it was just such a coincidence how it actually happened, because we were on safari and there was another couple we didn't even know on safari with us. We're in the Jeep and her phone just bounced out of the Jeep. And the next, she's freaking out. Where's my phone? Oh my gosh, my grandkids' pictures are in it and all the stuff. And the guide walked back out the next morning and found it on the road. So it was very lucky they found it. But the whole time I kept joking around about what happened last night with your phone. I wonder if a monkey grabbed it, or a bird or an elephant, or I wonder what story your phone could tell. And we were laughing, making up stuff. And she said, you should write a book about that. And then it just stuck. It wouldn't go away.
So Grandma's Phone, Lost in Africa. Who picks it up? Who finds it?
Yeah, all kinds of little baby animals and other animals pick it up and find it and do something with it, and then off they go. One of them decides to go back to their nest. One of the birds decides to take it and go back to the next nest and see if it can make nesting materials, and the baby birds didn't want it, so they threw it back out of the nest. There's an elephant that picks it up and tries to eat it and play with it, doesn't like it, throws it away. And so it just kind of goes from there until the end, where you realize the big surprise finish.
Do you leave it open for the phone to be lost and found again? Or maybe it's not ever found?
It is Grandma's phone. And in the book, Grandpa does say, you lost your phone again. So it's a prelude to that. This does happen quite often. So I am starting to work on Australia version, things like that. Maybe even, we're going to be going to Asia, and I kind of do it when we go places. So, we're going to be in Japan in a year and a half, and I might look at all the animals there and start working on that. But we've already been to Australia, and I've started working on the Australia version.
So all of this traveling that you do feeds into your book, feeds into all of these ideas. So it sounds like this could go on indefinitely.
As long as there's different animals in the world and different locations, yes, it could, actually.
Is there a message with each story?
I think it's more just fun, but it's looking at that creative side of what if this happened? And instead of just, oh my gosh, I lost my phone, and dropping it there, we went on and started playing with that idea and what the animals might do. And it just made that experience, even though frustrating for her until it was found, a little more fun. Just looking at the lighter side, I guess.
Yeah. So publishing it, how was that experience?
Very unique. I'd never done anything like this before. And when Fulton Books said that they wanted it, I was elated. I was like, "That's great. We can do something here." It didn't take me long to write because it was like knocking at the door. I need to come out, so it worked pretty. It flowed out pretty well, and then just the overall process, because illustrated books are a little bit more challenging because of the illustrations. And so finally got through all that. It took about 16 months total
Okay.
from start to finish.
You know, because we have listeners, right? And this is a podcast. And the biggest question is, I wrote my book. My dream has come true. It's arrived in the mail. Now what? So what? You're traveling all over the world now. Are you taking this book with you, or you're having book signings in Australia?
I will take a few because you never know when you'll need it, but I'm going to primarily be focused on the social media push and, friends referring it out and dropping it off at libraries. I already sent it out to the person that inspired the book, so she has a copy waiting for her in a few days. I'm also going to send it to the Africa resort, the place where we were at, the Safari Lodge,
Okay.
because really without them, it wouldn't have been born either, the guide that we had. So I'll be sending it to them. But otherwise, it's going to be more organic. I will bring some, and I do ship to myself and ship all over. So yeah.
Wouldn't it be great to do a book signing at the Safari Lodge? And that should be in their gift shop, your book.
Yes, it should.
In terms of your social media, what are you thinking there?
Well, I have someone working on, Facebook, Instagram.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I don't know yet if we're going to do a YouTube. I already have a YouTube under the Roaming Roundtrees, which is where we document all of our travels and this nomadic lifestyle that we have. So managing two might be a little tough, but yeah, just mainly Facebook and Instagram, maybe something on TikTok. Not sure.
But all right, well, geez, good luck with your travels. Kara Rountree, author of Grandma's Phone, Lost in Africa. Where will the phone be lost next?
Who knows?
Thanks for your time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You gotta love the title of our next book, Polka Dot Shorts, a collection of short stories for children from a man who knows a thing or two about kids, as you're about to find out. But first, Ashton A. Martin. That's not a pen name, right? That's your real name.
Yes,
Isn't that a car?
yes, yeah. Yeah, my parents claimed they didn't name me after the car, but I don't know.
You have your suspicions.
Yep.
How long have you been writing?
I've been writing since I was in first grade.
Was that a long time ago or not so long ago?
I was back in 96.
What kinds of things did you write?
Yeah, I just wrote like little stories about about animals. One was called Bill the Frog and the other one was Munchkin the Cat. So I just started writing little adventures for them. I don't know what inspired them, but
And they stuck with you for a lifetime.
yes. So I'd been working on my book for years, just writing short stories, not really focused on publishing. I just wanted to write short stories. And then when I got it all together, I decided that I wanted to publish.
Now, these two original characters from first grade, did they inspire this? Polka Dot Shorts?
I think they just inspired me to learn to love to write. Because they're not specifically in the book.
They didn't make the book?
No,
So you've got how many stories?
I think there's 10 in there. Yeah, 10 stories.
Do you have a favorite story?
I think my favorite story is where the title of the book comes from, is when two boys are playing inside because it's raining and they're playing pretend African safari. Basically, they're using their imagination, and one of the boys says, "Hey, look over there, it's an elephant wearing polka dot shorts." And that's kind of what inspired the title of the book. So each story has a message about like using imagination. The first story is about how, I guess, being kind to others and forgiveness. There's a little boy in grade school, and he's sitting in the lunchroom, and one of his classmates basically exposes that he peed his pants the other day, and so he's super hurt by it, super embarrassed, and he tries to figure out a way to get his revenge. The next day, he spills juice on her, and he, tells everyone that she peed her pants, and then she gets super upset. She goes out to the hallway and starts crying. He comes out and sees her, and he sees what he's done, and basically they have a moment where they apologize to each other and they become friends, and they learn not to spread rumors.
That's very sweet. Did any of the stories in this book actually happen to you?
Only one of the stories in the book actually happened to me. It's the one titled Flying. When I was a kid, I always thought I would be able to fly, and I would try to jump off the trampoline, try to jump off my bed and fly. um Needless to say, I didn't fly, but then I would have dreams about flying too, and so I incorporated that into that story.
Do you have children by any chance?
I do. I have 6.
You are brave. How old are they?
My oldest and my only girl is 12 years old, and then I have a 9-year-old boy, a 7-year-old boy, a 5-year-old boy, a 3-year-old boy, and a 7-month-old boy.
Are you going to keep going?
Nope, that's it.
You're sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Do you tell them these stories? Was that another inspiration?
Yes. Yeah, I my daughter was, when I first started writing, I was engaged to my wife, but then we had my daughter a year later. So I was still in the middle of writing when we had her. And the story titled My Little Star, I kind of modeled after her, and like what it'd be like for her to have a friend and everything. But yes, I do like to read the stories to them. My 5-year-old was talking about the summer reading program, and he's like, "Dad, I'm going to read your book." So it was awesome.
Did he read?
Yes, so it's just take home books and everything, but yes, he did read my book.
Is that working out for you? I mean, you've got 6 kids. That's 6 different
Yes.
avenues to explore to get your book
Yes.
out there.
Yes.
Do you ever go in and talk to the kids about your book?
I haven't yet.
You don't have to.
No, exactly.
That's great. I mean, you have your audiences all around you all the time.
Yeah, I do all the time. I have been through like word of mouth, and like at work, I'll tell my coworkers about my book, and then I'll generate sales that way.
Are you going to keep writing?
Yes, I'm already working on polka dot shorts too, and I'm also writing. Well, I also wrote a new adult fiction that's titled Railway Through Time.
Boy, where do you get the time to write?
Yeah, I just fit it in wherever I can find it, whether it's breaks at work, breaks at home.
I give you a lot of credit for that because, people are always saying, I just don't have time. Here's a man with a full-time job and 6 kids. What's your excuse, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. You clearly enjoyed the process of writing. It seems like you had a good experience.
Yes, I sure did.
Okay. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. Ashton
Yeah.
A. Martin, Polka Dot Shorts, a collection of short stories for children. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
When D.C. Page returned home from Vietnam and retired from the Army, he realized he'd spent a lifetime dealing with people suffering with PTSD. From his dad, who was a World War II vet, to a childhood friend and roommate. Suffice it to say, he's lucky to be alive to tell you his story. It is entitled, I Forgive You.
So a lot of my background had to do with looking at living with or being raised by people that were influenced heavily by this time in the service. Because of that, I saw a lot of things, a lot of unhealthy things, and I did lots of research to see if I could better understand post-traumatic syndrome and what was causing so many people to suffer for their entire lives. And so that resulted in this book, I Forgive You.
Lay out the story for me.
Well, I decided since there was three different components to this, both with my father, with myself, and then with this roommate, Danny, and I decided that I would try to, rather than treat this academically, but give the human side of showing these three different personalities. And um, when I got into this, I was amazed at how much of my own memories were able to be tapped to tell the story. My father was one of the first ones on Omaha Beach uh, during D-Day, during World War II. For myself, I was able to reconnect with my memories of being in Drill Sergeant Academy. And for my roommate and prior friend, had this unbelievable experience of being able to be the one to witness the trauma he experienced as he came home from Vietnam, but he never really left Vietnam. Brought the war home with him, suffering so, and was addicted and a drug user, all kinds of things because of what he saw and what he witnessed and what he experienced on a deep and personal level. So the more research I did, the more I found out that people don't recover from this usually, and men in particular don't seek help. And so the reason why I want to write this book is to encourage people to to understand that there is help available, that you don't have to live your entire life suffering the pain of post-traumatic syndrome, that they can learn how to deal with the memories of combat.
So David and Danny, were roommates after serving in two different wars. And David saw Danny's struggles, as you were just saying, with alcohol, and he thought it was his duty to help him. Now, I'm reading your synopsis. Danny saw David as the sergeant who had ordered him into battle. He thought his duty was to kill him. That's a little disturbing.
Yes, yes. It was very disturbing to me. I tried very desperately to help Daddy when he got home from the service, um, but he could not be helped by me because I was still in the Army Reserves. He saw me just as somebody whose duty was so far from his duty. He thought his duty was to kill me. And I couldn't change that. I couldn't alter his trajectory. He saw that as something he must do. And so he did try to kill me. And, I knew him prior to the service, and he was this wide-eyed, friendly, funny, regular guy,
Wow.
And so it was shocking to come home and reconnect with him, thinking I was going to see that guy I knew back when he was a kid. But he had been changed so dramatically that he saw me with hatred, and there was no joy in his life. And then through our time of sharing this apartment, I got to see what triggered these things. He saw the world as his enemy. He never saw anything good, and this was startling for me because when Danny was a kid, he was a joyful, upbeat, funny guy who saw beauty and laughter and everything.
It's so sad. And people don't realize, they can't help it.
No,
This isn't like a choice.
that's right.
You said in the process you're hoping that people suffering with PTSD will seek out help. Is there a universal
Yes,
number? I mean, do you offer any suggestions along those lines?
I do. And also one of the things that I had been doing ever since the book came out is I've been traveling around doing different presentations. I just did one in Syracuse, New York. They told me to expect about 30 people. Well, 300 showed up, and
Whoa.
that seems to be the route that this is taking. I also did a presentation in Pennsylvania and another one in just outside of Philadelphia, where more people showed up and did not leave once the presentation was over. So I've kind of altered the way I go about doing these presentations, because what I'm finding is that the people that are coming are looking for answers. They're looking for help. They're looking for relief from the pain that they're in. And so I've made a big part of my presentation kind of in the mode of motivating them to not give up, to seek the help that is there, to make sure that they can reconnect with veterans associations and the funds that are available still to help these people in pain. And some of these people are men and some of them are women, but the pain is universal.
How do people find out about your presentations? Is that where you're promoting your book, basically?
Yes.
So how are you setting them up?
By myself, independently. And once I do a presentation, a lot of the people that attend, they feed the general audience information about me, and other people then contact me. And so like I've got 3 more presentations coming up just over the next month.
That's great. That's great. You're doing a great thing here.
Well, I hope so.
You're helping a lot of people.
When I did this recent presentation in just outside of Philadelphia, what was startling to me is we had people there of all ages that had different experiences in different wars, whether it be World War II. We had somebody who was in their upper 90s. We had people from that participated in the Korean War, Vietnam War, Iraq, Iran, whatever. But the terror still exists all those years later. And many men in particular do not seek help. And what I'm trying to do is give them permission, that because it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. If you're trying to make yourself healthy again so that you can be healthy for your family, for yourself, and for the community at large.
Beautiful. DC Page, author of I Forgive You.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for calling.
Lowell Swartz wrote a lot of reports as a maintenance engineer for a pharmaceutical company, but he always wanted to write his story. The name of his book pretty much says it all. Poverty to Prosperity, the path forged by a poor boy to become an officer in the U.S. Navy.
Yeah, the way that all developed was I met a friend. I retired from the Navy and went to work for a Wyeth, a pharmaceutical company. And I met a guy there. We became very close friends. He was an ex-Navy guy. And we got pretty close. We did a lot of partying together. And we tell each other stories about what we did. And he kept telling me, you got to write a book. You got to write this down, man. And he kept that up and kept it up and kept it up. After, I don't know how many years, 10, maybe more, he finally said, okay, come on, let's do it. So he actually got me started doing it. And that's how it got started.
All right. So the path forged by a poor boy to become an officer in the U.S. Navy. So you take us from the beginning.
Yep. I was born in a shack on my grandma's farm in upper in Alcona County.
Is that in Michigan?
Yes.
Okay.
And the book then goes into the various moves that I made. I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 moves until I was 14, 15. And things that happened at those moves, and then I go into high school, and I was going to quit after junior year. My brother talked me into staying, And that last year, I fell in love with learning. And I joined the Navy, and I went to school. I studied a lot. Finally, after 3 years in the Navy, I decided I wanted to be an officer. So I investigated various ways that I could do that. And I thought the best way was one of this program that they had for officers called NESEP, the Navy Engineering Scientific Education Program. That had been formed because the Navy was short on officers because of the Vietnam War. So I set up my life from there on to get into that program. About 4 years that it took to get started. And during that 4 years, I did get out of the Navy. I was discharged, but after a couple of years, as a civilian, I went back in. In order to get the best out of life, I had to sign up for the Navy nuclear power program. And I knew that the education that I would get from that school would give me the best opportunity to get into college. So that was, I started out, the nuclear program was extremely rigorous, as anyone who's been through it will tell you. After the year, I was asked if I'd be an instructor in the nuclear plant there in New York, upstate New York. So I did that, and I made applications for this NESEP program, and I wasn't accepted. So the next year, I applied again and made it. So went to college. After 3 years, I got dropped. My annual physical indicated I had an ulcer, so they dropped me.
Wow, just like that.
Yeah, that was terrible. That was the worst day of my life. And I went to an aircraft carrier in Vietnam. And I was there for a couple of years before I was able to get back into college. The way I did that, or the way I got back in, was interesting. I was, as a chief petty officer on the Ranger, we were visiting Sasebo, Japan. I was in a bar there in Sasebo. This guy sat down next to me at the bar. We got talking, and turns out he was a flight surgeon on the Ranger. And he just said, "Hey, you're wasting an awful lot of your life here. Why don't you go back to college?" I said, "Well, they dropped me, you know." But he said, "Well, maybe they'll take you back." And after a fairly brief conversation, I said, "Okay, yeah, let's try it." So he set me up with a doctor's appointment for an evaluation. And when I got back to California, I went and got the evaluation, got cleared from ulcers, and wrote a letter to the Chief of Naval Personnel asking to be reinstated to the NESEP program. Nobody had ever done that before. So I was walking on fresh territory there. But I got it. They approved it, and I went back to Purdue, graduated, got my commission.
So basically, this is a story of someone who was not likely to find success.
Yeah.
You were moved around as a child. What was going on there?
When I was 10 years old, my uncle and my father, they were brothers, passed away within 2 weeks of each other.
Oh.
And so from there on, I was fatherless, very poor.
Do you believe that anyone who, gets dealt the hand that you were dealt has the ability to rise above?
Yeah.
You think anybody, I don't know that anybody can do that.
Well, it requires an unbelievable amount of tenacity.
Yeah.
Hanging on to your. Well, first making the decision of what I wanted to do, because before that I didn't know. I was just in the Navy having fun. Yeah, I think if anybody average, at least average, just anybody would be able to do it if they had the.
You have to want it.
Yes, you have to want it. You have to be determined. Can't let anything turn you down or turn you back. Just got to keep looking.
Do you go out and talk to kids? Do you go out and talk about your experience?
No.
Any thoughts on moving forward to, get this book to young adults who need it?
Well, I have thoughts. My buddy that talked me into writing this book passed away.
I'm so sorry, Lowell. Oh.
Yeah. I was in the middle of the book. I was about halfway through, and he passed away. And in his honor, I continued.
Wow.
And got it out.
All right.
So, yeah, I don't know if I've got another book in me or not. I'm 84 years old.
Yeah.
I got, I don't know, several marketers that want to market it, and I'm all tangled up with them. I got, Fulton. Fulton has, well, you.
What an incredible story, Lowell. I don't know. I think it takes a lot of tenacity and determination, and too often people turn to, alcohol, drugs, to numb the pain. But you just kept right on going, man. You just kept right on going. Yeah. And you became very successful. So good for you.
Thank you.
Lowell Swartz, author of Poverty to Prosperity, The Path Forged by a Poor Boy to Become an Officer in the U.S. Navy. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Like so many others, Danita Beckworth found comfort and a renewed spirit through writing about overcoming a life of addiction, adversity, and hardship. The name of her book, How Come No One Knew I Wanted to Die? Danita, this book, it's really part of your healing process, isn't it?
So it freed me. It freed my spirit, and it allowed me to live today and not exist.
I mean, it sounds like your life was a living hell.
It was. I grew up without a mom. My mom passed when I was 6. And I grew up with my father, my father was an alcoholic. And I really didn't know like love and things like that, or someone being able to say that I love you. And my life was like trial and error. That's what it was.
Was there anybody there who was on your side who could help you?
I had a sister. We kind of was sort of like raising each other, in those days, because my father, he worked he really did work, show a good example in that area. But, he had his lifestyle and, being an alcoholic and things like that. He was the provider, but he wasn't giving me things I needed other than just like going to work, paying bills. I was liking a lot of stuff, that I never did receive, having my mom leave. But I had older sisters, and they were like in their own world. I did have an aunt that would take us places from time to time, but life was just rough without having my mom. I think had my mom been in my life, it would have been a lot different.
And it sounds like you were exposed to drugs and all kinds of things.
Yes. And I realized once I got clean from drugs and I started to get, gut level honest about a lot of stuff, drugs was something that I picked up along the way. I had issues prior to, picking up drugs. I was actually had some like inner spirit issues going on with me. So what I did in the midst of it, drug became like another habit to deal with reality or to deal with what was really going on with me. It was something I picked up along the way.
How long did you deal with that?
I remember being curious. I was always a curious child. I remember being curious about marijuana because I used to see like my sisters and just see little things and what I would do. I remember wanting to try it, not knowing like where to get it from, but I remember taking some actual grass that was dried up that looked like it, and that was my beginning. And I choked like a fool, but it choked me. But that was my curiosity and my, like I say, my life was like trial and error.
Yeah.
So always was willing to try this or to try that, and no one there to say, "Ouch, that that hurt, Danita. Don't do that."
Yeah.
So my story is you can kind of tell I was missing a mother.
So you started with marijuana. Would you say that was a gateway drug for you?
It was the beginning, yes. Marijuana, we used to drink beer, like they called it slit malt liquor beer. I remember starting out like that with marijuana and beer.
How were you able to write your path after that?
What I did was, I remember even in first grade, I failed first grade. I used to skip school in the first grade. I did go up to 12th grade. And I remember I had had my son at age 17. I went up to 12th grade and I dropped out of high school, not because I was a dummy, but I dropped out like wanting to be like spend more time with my son. My sister was helping me with him. It was just the decision making. I didn't have very good decision making, and I wasn't taught that either. So it was just my life, like I tell you, it was trial and error. My disease, what happened, the addiction, it progressed. I started doing that. Once I did that for only so long, the tolerance level got higher. So I met my daughters. During this time, I had two kids. I met my daughter's father, and I got introduced to crack cocaine. So it went from smoking marijuana to drinking beer, sort of like functional, sort of, but it was that curiosity and he was doing crack cocaine around me, and I was like, oh, let me try it, and I kept on doing that, and I remember doing it and saying I couldn't feel it, and all the time not knowing that I was getting hooked on it.
Mm.
So that's how I actually end up doing crack cocaine and powder. It's like I've learned in my addiction that the tolerance level, as long as I start on one, my body will eventually get used to it, and then I go to the next phase. So, and that's how life was for me. And the crack cocaine was like very devastating.
Yeah, I mean, that's like one of the hardest drugs to get off of.
hmm
It's very
hmm
addictive. So how did you do that?
Well, I remember praying in the crack house. That was my beginning. I was starting to pray and asking God to help me. So I would have little phases where I would do good, go back out, do good, go back out. Okay, I'd do that for a while. And that's something I was taught that most addicts go through before they get it together. So what made me start to turn my life around was I was told, like most addicts have to hit their rock bottom.
Right.
I had a lot of support, but when the support went away, that's when after things got worse, like I remember being at a shelter from being abused. That's a part of my book as well. Being in there with my kids being abused, and end up leaving my kids in the shelter to go out and get high. That was the start of my life changing because God was so good, and I had already been praying even in the midst of my addiction. When the lady at the Hubbard House seen my kids, the first thing she said, I couldn't put them in the system. She said, because I can look at your children and tell how disciplined and well-mannered they was, and they were dressed neat and everything. This is what God was doing for me in the midst of my storm and my prayers. So my kids never did go into the system, but I was out, doing my usual, And when I got back, that's when my family had actually got my kids. And I ended up having to go into treatment. And the judge had said to me, Miss Lee, at the time it was Miss Lee, he said, Miss Lee, where do you want your kids to go? And I was actually able to tell the judge, I wanted my son with my sister, my daughter with her grandmother. God was like in the midst of the storm with me while I was lost. There was God. And I was able to appoint them, and I went into treatment. I had been in treatment 2 or 3 times with, not the seriousness of wanting to change. This last time when they had went to the Hubbard house and that situation happened because of the drugs, that was life-changing for me. I went into treatment, like I said, my sister had my son, my daughter's grandmother had her. And God had gave me that particular time everything I needed to go into treatment, to be able to receive help, to take suggestions, everything I needed, the honesty, the willingness, the open-minded, everything I needed to recover. I had it this last time when I went in treatment. And my life changed from there. In treatment, I set a goal. They taught us to set goals. One of my goals was I wanted to be a cosmetologist. Not knowing that's what my mother was. As I got older, I started finding out things. But I ended up going to cosmetology school. That was a goal when I first got clean. I did finish cosmetology school. And it didn't work out. I didn't get my license. I wasn't able to get my license. I tried a few times, but I never could pass the test. So I ended up doing real estate. And I got into that because of the same sister that used to help me in the addiction, and the same one that had my son. She was always, she's just been my backbone. She still is. But she got into real estate, and I started working up under her. And when I realized the money that you could make, she showed me a check. She said, look, Nita, this is what I said, really? I said, I can make that kind of money. All I need is my license. She said, yeah. So I set that goal, and I kept on, and I didn't pass the test for to the 3rd time. And then I passed, and I got my real estate license. So real estate is something that I end up doing. I've worked at many restaurants. I've done that as well. I've done quite a bit. Housekeeping, chef. I've done quite a bit as far as working. But my last job was real estate, and I loved real estate.
Good for you. What a great example for your children and for other people that have been through, that have had the kind of life that you've had. So the question is, are you able to go back to these treatment centers with your story of success? Are you able to get to some of these people who need to hear that recovery is possible?
What I have been doing, and I'm glad you asked that question. That's a great question. I've always asked God to let me know my purpose. What's my purpose? I don't want to just be on this earth and not really just be walking in my purpose. And what God has shown me is I've been running into people. My goal is to go into treatments and to go into schools. My goal is to do those things. But in the meantime, what God has been having me do is like He always put me in places where I know it's time for me to speak, or it's time to share my story. I run into a lot of people that's homeless, or they're on the street. And these are some intelligent people, and they're still people of God. When I look at them, I look at me. That's how I look at it. I don't look at them as just being out there. I look at them, that is me, because I remember being laying out on the street. I remember being just like that. And they didn't choose to, when they teacher asked them when they was little what they're going to be, they didn't say, I want to be homeless when I get older. I look at, that's the kind of person that I am. I look beyond what I see. I talk to them if I gotta sit them down and feed them, because I've always learned that a person will listen at me better if I make sure that they're nurtured, have something in their stomach or something to drink, then they'll pay more attention to what I'm saying, like the message. And it's been successful doing that. So, I try to get them to see the beacon of light.
You have an incredible story of tenacity, survival, determination. I mean, so many things we can learn from your story, Danita. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Danita Beckworth, how come no one knew I wanted to die?
I thank you so much, and you've made my day.
For Chuck Roy, it's all about the Beatles and creating stories around some of the group's most well-known songs. The name of his book, Paperback Writer, 9 Unique Short Stories Celebrating the Words and Lyrics of the Beatles, Volume 1 through 9. Chuck, I'm assuming you're a huge Beatles fan.
Growing up, I wasn't a huge Beatles fan. For some reason, within the last 8 years or so, 7 years, I started getting into them and just that's all I listen to now. Used to be a Led Zeppelin fan, but not now. I've given up everything, even my second favorite group, the Rolling Stones, for the Beatles now.
But before you wrote this book, you
Yes.
weren't necessarily interested in the Beatles, and the inspiration for this book, one day you woke up and started writing.
The inspiration for this book was one day I heard the song Rocky Raccoon. That was my first story. And I said, this would be a great story, because the song just goes right in line with a great story. I said, I'm going to put my little edge on it and write what I think for what would be a good Rocky Raccoon. And then went on to the next one, and I just kept on writing and.
Yeah, so you kind of switch up because every Beatles song is a story. Right?
Most of them are. Some I had to reach on a couple. And what I would do, this is what I would do. I would just basically sit in bed at night and pull up AZ lyrics or whatever the lyrics and just go through their songs and find a song that I thought I could write a story about. Now, Rocky Raccoon has a story. Bungalow Bill has a story. A lot of them have stories. But like Blue Jay Way doesn't really have any characters. I had to come up with I just kind of winged it on that one, but most of them do have a set story, but a lot of them don't. And I just it depended on what I thought I could do with it.
Give me an example of one story that I'm going to find in your book.
One story, my favorite, well, I don't really have a favorite, but Band on the Run. Band on the Run I took I was a big Ramones fan too when I was younger. So I took the Ramones characters and kind of interspliced it with Band on the Run, made them part of Band on the Run. They're a group of guys that go down to Mexico and get in trouble down there, and they're on the run because the officials are looking for them. Everyone they break out of jail and all the crap hits the fan, I should say. And so it's just I would start a story and then it would just take off. And I'd come up with new things, and I'd put a lot of other musical hints here and there. Like one of my new stories has the Who in it. I love the Who. And they have all their characters. So it just kind of starts with nothing and ends with a story.
Okay, so just to clarify, so it's not all just the Beatles, because Band on the Run is Paul McCartney and Wings, right?
What happened was I got through all the Beatles songs, and I kind of hit a wall, and I said, well, you know what? I'll go look at their solo stuff. So I found a couple. I did one for Ringo. I did the No No song. I did Band on the Run, of course, is a Wings song.
Okay.
And so it's not all the Beatles. You're right, but it's the four guys, the four major guys, and so yes.
That is very interesting. That this is the route you would take.
Now I'm just hitting up. I've contacted all the Books A Million, Barnes and Noble, Bull Moose is up here, all the local bookstores. And they're all in the process. I've even gone out and reached, this is kind of weird, but I've kind of reached out to book reviewers and emailed them and say, look, I'll even mail you a book if you don't want to buy it. I'd love it if you could review my book. I really not. This is my first time. I'm not really sure on how to do this, but I'm learning as I go.
Now, you never really wrote before because you were a pharmacist.
Never wrote before. Never wrote a story before.
Now you're retired and you're on a roll.
I'm retired. I had a lot of free time, and I keep myself busy with it. I'm a very busy person anyway, but I just had some extra time to write these stories, and I just like I said, one followed another, and before I knew it, I had over 20 stories written.
Okay, and now you're working on your next book.
Next book is written. It's almost done.
It's almost done. Is it anything like this one?
Well, it's all Beatles songs again. It's all I've done so far is Beatles songs. Now, this next book, first book was my first stories, and my first stories were shorter. I didn't really get as really descriptive as I do in my later stories. So the first book was 9 stories. The second book is going to just be almost exactly the same amount of pages, but it's only 6 stories because the books are longer and more descriptive. I bring more characters into it. I've kind of, I don't know if I would call it evolved as a writer, but I just I changed. I just got more descriptive. So it's going to be the same type of stories.
Chuck Roy, you're funny.
Yeah, it was different. You know, when I first started, the first question I asked my publisher was, "Will I be allowed to do this?" Because I'm not going to. I don't think anyone's ever done this. Before I did it, I looked online. I looked for everywhere for. There was one book that had a few stories like this, but not many people have taken the lyrics and wrote a story. And so I thought it was kind of different. And I know there's a lot of Beatles fans, and I know it's kind of a different thing to do, and it's worked so far.
Can you just tell me where the highly trained hit woman named Madonna comes in?
I love Madonna. She's my girl. Yeah. I don't know. I listened to that song. That's probably my favorite. That one and Lucia. Those two. Madonna was just
Lady Madonna.
No, I had to think of a way how she's going to get her money as a single woman. And I'm a big Jack Reacher fan too. So I kind of I don't have any bad stuff. I don't have any swearing in my stories. I don't have any bad stuff, but I do have a little bit of violence. And I just wanted to think of a quirky way for her to get her money, and that was what I came up with.
All right. Well, that's something to look forward to. All right. Chuck Roy, author of Paperback Writer, 9 unique short stories celebrating the words and lyrics of the Beatles, volumes 1 through 9. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Shakira Wilkerson has been writing since middle school, but it was her grandmothers who inspired her to take the leap into publishing with her book, Grandmas Are Sweet.
I wanted to dedicate to both of my grandmothers. Both of them, they are deceased, but they play a major role in my life, and I just wanted to dedicate it to them.
Tell me about these grandmas. How did they impact your life?
Both of my grandmothers, even though they was kind of strict, but they was loving. You know, they gave us life experience. They made you laugh. They loved to sing, so that was my thing too. I love singing. Both of them love to sing, so they just impact my life really great, and I wanted to dedicate it to them.
Tell me how you lay out the book.
The characters is myself when I was a little girl, and both of them are my grandmothers. So one's my mother's mother, my father's mother. And both of them, they're in a character. One is named Ruby, and the other one name is Joyce. They just do different activities, whether it's baking cake, eating ice cream, looking in the mirror, hugging each other. It's just a dedication, appreciation. They just enjoy being around each other. The little girl, she's enjoying both of them. She looks up to them. So they just, enjoy spending time with each other. It's just pure love, pure, admiration. That's all it is. She's just showing them that she loves them. The grandmother's showing that they love her. So it's just about love. She's singing, and they listen to her singing, imagination, creativity going on. They, helping her with that.
Do you have great pictures in the book?
Yes. There's pictures of the little girl, then pictures of the grandmother, pictures of them going to the ice cream place. There's picture of them, she's singing on the porch while they're sitting there clapping their hands. So there's just little pictures, little moments, where they participate and she's enjoying them and they enjoying each other.
So you just capture all of these little moments, and every page you turn
Mm-hmm.
is another moment with your grandmother.
Right.
And at the end of the book, is there a message?
It just said grandmothers, they're the rubies and diamonds in our lives, and everyone should appreciate their grandmothers.
And they should appreciate them when they grow up. Because when they're
Mm-hmm.
little kids, they do appreciate them, and then they grow up.
Yes. Right. Mm-hmm. I enjoy them. One was in South Carolina, one was in New Jersey. So wherever I visit, I enjoy them. I sat there like a little sponge, soak up everything they said to me, everything we did. So,
Aw, what's their names?
Ruby Felder and Joyce Wilkerson.
Okay. And how are you telling people about this book?
Online, word of mouth, family members. So,
But you're in a school, aren't you?
yes.
So is that helpful to you? Like, do people know you wrote this book, or can you bring your book in and read it?
I can ask, but no, they don't know I wrote a book.
Oh, you Shakira, what are you hiding? What are you
I
doing?
don't know. I don't know.
Go into the local library, do a little reading. Would you enjoy doing that?
I would, yes.
Yeah. Are you going to keep writing now?
I do. I love writing. I have a book of stories.
Like all kinds of stories, or what? What kind of?
Yes. There's children. Now I'm working on teens, and then also, inspirational. So it's different genres.
So you're going to keep going.
Yes.
Are you using social media to promote your book?
Yes, and the company is also doing it too.
That's great. You had a good
Yes.
experience writing the book?
Yes, I did. Yes.
All right. Shakira Wilkerson, author of Grandmas Are Sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just in time for the holidays, Nubia Rose is re-releasing her book, I Want Nothing for Christmas Book 2. Nubia, you say you had enormous success with your Christmas video back in 2021. Tell me about that.
Yeah, that video was like, I did it like at that time, I was living in North Carolina for about a year because my son was going to study there, college.
Mm-hmm.
There at that time, I was just like so like missing my family. My husband stayed in our house here in Florida, and I thought to myself, like this is the right time for me to do the video for the song because the book is based on my song, I Want Nothing for Christmas.
Okay.
So I started out looking for people, to help me out with the video, like videographer and all that. And I did find someone, and we started out. We did like a video in a studio there, like me, the scenes that I'm singing in the front of the vanity and all that. It was done in North Carolina at the studio. And then when we came back to Florida, I decided to continue the video because I didn't finish the video. There was more to do. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to do it at my home here in my living room with my Christmas tree up.
Nice.
And, I just had someone to come in to film, videographer, and nothing expensive, nothing, so crazy. I just wanted to give the message, send the message out about the good things in life don't need to be like expensive stuff. And,
So you posted it, and what happened?
I posted on YouTube. And when I saw I had like these people from Canada, from all over, like sending me messages and, liking the song. And even on my Instagram, there is like a family, they send me a video on Christmas time singing my song. So I was like, that was like, I couldn't believe that happened. So by the video, just by that posted that video on YouTube. And also, I believe I was playing some television in Massachusetts or somewhere. I don't know where they have like lots of Brazilians there. And I got these messages from these people. They saw my video. And that's how, that was the first time, I got, you know, so many messages about my videos, you know. They found me on Instagram after YouTube because I have my link to my Instagram there and everything.
That's so great. I mean, people dream of having that kind of success.
There was like until today I feel like emotion when I talk about it
Yeah.
because I didn't mean that, I just when I wrote the song it was just about me describing in the words in my lyrics about how I was feeling about everything, nothing for Christmas.
Can you sing a little bit for me?
I want nothing for Christmas this year. Everything I want is right here. Picking out a tree with my boy. Decorating brings me lots of joy.
That's great.
Now I have another book with Fulton Books,
Okay.
and they are so amazing. Now it's professional because the other one I did all by myself. Just had someone to the first one, the book one. It was all me.
I Want Nothing for Christmas. When the book came out, you did that yourself. Now you're doing it legit.
Yes, yes. Now I have professional, you guys so professional, and I'm so excited with all this. And well, I don't know if there is a possibility for the movie to become a screenplay.
Okay. This thing just keeps on going.
Yeah, I know.
It's a story, right?
It's the lyrics with cartoons and describing, it's for children, describing, what the lyrics mean, like in little scenes, like me going with my son, getting the Christmas tree, picking up the Christmas tree and decorating, and scenes like myself, like sad, missing my family in Brazil, my whole family, my mom. But I think the adults also are going to appreciate this a lot because it's all about the family, all about family and the loved ones, you know. Family can be just your dog, like your little puppy, you know.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have anybody, it's your puppy, That's you wanted to be with your love, the people that you love,
Yeah.
over the holidays, because that's the time we get more emotion, It's just the way it is. And sometimes we cannot be with them. Like me, every year I have all this. I have my family, beautiful family here. I'm in the United States. I love this country. It's my home country. But it's still something missing. My family.
Feeling the love.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's not about material things at all. And I think every person one day will realize that when they get older, maybe not even when they get older, maybe young age, they're gonna figure out that it's not all about material things. It's about love and family and you know being with your love, the people that you love, and they love you. They'll be there for you for anything, any kind of trouble, anything. You have someone to talk to, and they're gonna listen to you, and not even like getting the gift, and that's okay. Bye bye. And that's what it is. Family. Family is everything. It's the best gift of all.
True. And that is true. How are you going to let people know, like, the book is out again?
Good. I'm thinking about that. I have like lots of projects right now. I have my song Santa Claus, but I only did it in Portuguese, which is Papai Noel.
Okay.
But that song also, I wanted to do it in English, to record in English,
Okay.
and have a video and a book about Papai Noel,
Okay.
about Santa Claus. Yes, because it's a beautiful, and Santa Claus is like the song is such a beautiful message for the kids also. He wants the people to be, the kids, to be nice, to be polite, to do good in school, to care about the others, you know. But that's another that's another book.
Okay. Well, we'll be looking forward to that. We'll be looking forward to that.
That's thank you.
Yeah, and you know what? Your timing is great because too often Christmas books come out. You know, I'm doing these interviews, you know, right before Christmas, and you really need, you know, October and November to ramp up. So,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yes.
your
Yes.
timing is perfect. You are Nubia Rose, author of I Want Nothing for Christmas.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a great day.
We hope you enjoyed this edition of the ReaderHouse Author Roundtable, where authors from all walks of life come together to discuss the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of publishing their books. I'm Alice Stockton Rossini. We hope to see you back here every Saturday night at 8 o'clock, or listen to our podcast anytime on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, and PodServe, just to name a few. The Author Roundtable is sponsored by ReaderHouse Online Bookstore, where independent new authors come first.